One great thing about paddling is that it can be fun even if the weather is not the best, even if the conditions are a little bit rough. And this was the case a week ago on Swedish Air Kayak Day in Stockholm, Sweden, where basically you'll see this from an organizer's perspective. I was a co-organizer for this again this year, and actually the one who came up with the concept once upon a time. This is Swedish Air Kayak Day in Sweden. It's called Luftkajakens dag, and we are gathering inflatable and folding kayaks with packrafts welcome as well. In this case on Stockholm waters, in the central Stockholm city, Sweden. And this is something that has been going on for a number of years. There you can see myself on the right, Patrik Vuorio, and Bengt Larsson on the left. And we are the organizers of this activity, which has been going on since 2023 annually. And nowadays, it's actually quite easy to know when it is, because it's always on the third Sunday in August from now on. And in this video, I'll show you a little bit about this day, what it's like, what it was like this year, and at the same time you get to see Stockholm from the water. Stockholm is a great city for paddling, and we do organize this day in Stockholm city typically, just like Swedish Sea Kayak Day, which has been going on since 1984 and is a larger event for sea kayaks, also takes place in Stockholm, and that's a longer event. But this one, however, is for inflatable and folding kayaks, as I said, and packrafts. And this year we had maybe a third of what we had a couple of years before in terms of participants, and I would say that the ones who actually showed up were kind of brave, because the weather forecast for this day was up to 7 meters per second base wind, relatively cool weather in the air, and up to 13 meters per second in wind gusts. And those are not really winds that are great for inflatable kayaks, at least not the kind of kayaks that you see here. There are more high performance inflatables that handle those conditions better, but basically you get blown around a little bit and you have to work harder, and when it's cooler it's not quite as fun. So the ones who actually showed up this year were the brave ones, I would say, and we still had a really good time. One paddler even came all the way from Sundsvall, much further north in Sweden, to participate. So this is really nice. Some new people and some who had been there before. It's a great opportunity to network among other paddlers who also use inflatable or folding kayaks or packrafts. Well, this year actually, as you might be able to see, we only had inflatable kayaks, but in previous years we've had a mix actually of the three. I'm saying there that it's nice that they provide some piano music for us, because there was a festival going on during these days, and as such we actually had some live music in the background, which is not every day. But anyway, these kind of kayaks, you don't really tend to be connected to a kayaking club or the like when you have a kayak like this. Some have these in addition to their hardshell kayaks, and then they might be in a club or other settings where they basically get to socialize with other paddlers. But many times paddlers in especially inflatable kayaks might not have that kind of network, so the idea of this day is to provide an opportunity to meet and network and share inspiration and ideas among paddlers that have similar crafts, even if the models vary quite a lot. And it's been a great thing for a number of years now. We don't only organize Swedish Air Kayak Day, there have also been side paddles in other locations, often out in nature. So more trips in addition to these days. and it's always been appreciated. It's always been a lot of fun, and you get to see and maybe try out other kayaks or even packrafts, so different models, and get to see things that you wouldn't every day. I would contend that basically most of these events would be with a group of kayaks in a combination of different models that you would never really have seen in Sweden or maybe even anywhere else, that exact combination of those kayak models, etc. So it can be fun. Again, on this day it was quite windy, which makes it all the more tough for paddlers. And with the audio in this video, you will be able to hear here and there the actual wind in the background, giving you an indication of what it was like on the day. There we had two of the paddlers in one of the advanced frame convertible kayaks from Advanced Elements leaving us. They had noted that they would be able to be here for a shorter time only, and we were happy to have them. So now the rest of the group continues. And if you actually if you watched the earlier video I made, which was made just hours after the event itself, you might have seen some of this. It was a quick edit, but here's more footage in this video, and you get to see the whole way around, whereas the first part only showed the way until lunch. So now Stockholm is a busy city, oftentimes with boat traffic. On this day it was even more so than often you'll see. And here we had already waited for quite a while with the ferries that were passing by. And now in a few moments we will finally have the opportunity to actually pass and to cross here safely. There's still a smaller boat coming. We have to wait for that. We are heading over to Gröna Lund, amusement park on the other side. And on this day, actually, it should be mentioned, we are paddling on the east side of Stockholm City, which was a first time for this event. We've always been on the west side of Stockholm City. And here, as you can see, there's a lot of wind, a bit of chop that is created also by all the boat traffic. So even if it looks a lot calmer with the stabilization of the camera, this was probably more than most paddlers were used to. But everybody did a good job, and as a leader or as an organizer, you kind of want to keep an eye out on the whole group and make sure that everybody gets across safely and so on and so forth. Again, these would normally not be the conditions that we would take a group of paddlers out into when they're in inflatable kayaks, and when you don't know the paddlers and their capacity in advance, really. But in this case, we knew that the wind was coming from the north, and with the route we had planned, we were always going to have land from north for the most part, meaning that we would be sheltered largely by different land masses and the island of Djurgården. So basically, we decided to go ahead with the event anyway. And it was the right call, but it was definitely choppier and a little bit colder and windier than we've ever had during Swedish Air Kayak Day. And our participants had to work a bit. So well done everybody who participated. It was more of a challenge than usual. And at least we were not screaming in fear like the participants here in the amusement park on the different attractions there. Well, I think we were feeling more safe in our kayaks actually. But anyway, it's always nice to paddle in Stockholm, and the east side of Stockholm is less paddled. In summer you do have rental kayaks here, so you do have the option to paddle around, but it's still more common to be on the west side. There are more rental locations there, and the kayak clubs are more located in that direction, etc., etc. In this case, we're heading now around the island of Djurgården, which means we will have a little bit of chop still, and we do need to look out all the time when we get further out for boat traffic. Whenever you're in a group, whatever paddling group, you need to be mindful of boat traffic. And when it's windy like this and you can get pushed away a bit to the side, it's even more important. But most important of all is, of course, lunch break. And we did stop here for lunch. We found a new place we hadn't really used before, and it was actually quite cool during lunch. It was a little bit cold even as we sat down, which was ironic, both because we had so many unusually hot summer days for Swedish conditions recently, and actually when we were done with our paddle, just after everybody had packed up their kayaks basically, actually the sun came out. Most of the sky became open and the wind died down, and it became actually quite warm. So it was a little bit unfair in terms of the conditions during the day, but also that meant that some of the paddlers here maybe got to experience new kinds of waves and chop and paddling in wind more than they're used to, which is good practice. So we did have good fun, and everybody did a good job here. Now we're paddling on the south side of the island of Djurgården, which was a good call, because actually here we had an unexpected visit from a seal that actually popped up right in the middle of our group there. Not something you see every day.
Joining us,
especially this close to the city. I've never seen a seal at this particular location, so that was new. It wasn't really showing any fear or concern, but it was also not moving a lot, so we were concerned as to whether it was injured or weak or something. And that might have been the case. In all cases, it didn't seem that bothered by us, and we were thankful for the visit and having met this seal, basically. Here, the boat traffic can be very fast and quite significant, especially during high summer. On a good day, you have, with good weather, you have a lot of fast motorboats, so you need to be careful here and stick near land, especially if you're in a group. But this worked well, and as you can see ahead there are a number of spots where the ferries stop. These are commuter ferries in the city and to the islands further out. So if you are in Stockholm and you want to explore different places from the water, you can actually take the ferry as another mode of transport, which is nice. But when you're in a group like this, and when it's Swedish Sea Kayak Day, which also has this route in part, it is a much larger group, and then you really have to time the ferries, and you need to show respect to the boat traffic when you're a kayaker, when you're a paddler in aircraft, really. It's not just about your own safety, it's also about helping them out. I stopped at an earlier point to let a small tourist boat passed, as the group had passed them and they were waiting, had just arrived, and I waited and went on the other side of it to let them pass, and I got the thumbs up from the captain of the boat. So basically, wherever you're paddling, whether it's in a city like this or on seawater, along the coast or whatever, you always want to be respectful towards other traffic on the water. Make sure you're not in the way, and as a kayak, you should be mindful of that you might not always be as visible as you think that you are. So it's a major safety issue to be mindful of at all times, and also a matter of respect between crafts on the water. And generally that works quite nicely. Now we're passing, we've come to the east side of Djurgården Island, and we'll be heading back through the canal. But back further out east from here, we actually saw 3 Kronor of Stockholm, a brig with its sails up, which is not something that you see every day. So that was nice. It was a bit further away. They go out on sailing trips and allow people to help set up everything and manage the sails and whatnot, and that's a nice thing. So it's a nice feature. We got to see quite a few things on this trip actually. And as such, I mean, it's always nice to organize events like this, regardless of what paddle crafts you're using. But for this kind of community, which you can also find if you're in Sweden, you can find it in the Facebook group
Jag visste inte att det går varglös här.
Hopfällbara och uppblåsbara kajaker. That is the online community that was the basis for creating these events, basically. So Bengt, who is the other leader there, created that group way back when. Then made me an administrator as well in the group, and I've been helping out there. Then back in 2022, I came up with the concept of a physical meetup. We had that with a longer name, the Swedish Air Kayak Day. Then in 2023, we made it an annual thing. And basically, I would say that the concept of the regular meetup, the Swedish Air Kayak Day, is mine. The name is something that Bengt came up with, and the group that created the online community is something that Bengt created. So that was a good thing. And here we simply had a great time. I would also mention again, as you saw earlier in the video maybe, that I've created an international group that is for all kinds of portable crafts. Inflatable, folding kayaks, stand-up paddle boards, packrafts, and the point there is more about when you're able to take your paddlecraft with you, maybe by
ska vi gå fram lite där då?
By backpack or whatnot on public transport, or however you move around, and you don't really have to be reliant on getting back to your car. You might be able to paddle from point A to point B and end in a completely different location. I do that a lot, especially in my Paddling in 100 Cities project, which you can see more of in the traveling and paddling playlist here on the channel. And as such, that group is new, portable paddling, so if you're interested in that, you're welcome to join there as well. Well, here we're back, and we had a good time. As I said, as I say often, success metric here was that nobody sank. This time either. And even with the bad weather, we did have a great time. It was good meeting people again, and thanks to everybody who participated. So, see you next time. And if you're in Sweden, maybe we'll see you on Facebook. Hopefällbara och uppblåsbara kajaker. In all cases, thank you for watching, and stay safe out there. Happy paddles.